Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Mary Jo from Mary Jo's Creations, and today is a very special day for me. Today is my birthday, and I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I am trying out like different things, but today is February 2nd. Yesterday was February 1st. I didn't do much crocheting yesterday because my friend took me out for my birthday, and I went to go see Aladdin on on Broadway, and that was just amazing. It was the best time I had. It was awesome. And so I didn't really do much crocheting yesterday. I did try to, I took a project with me. Of course I did. And on the train, I did work a little bit on my scarf, but not really much. But yesterday was the first, so it was the first of the month, and I wanted to do a video about everything that I've done in January. Now, I would normally do a video like this in my workroom because it's bigger and, you know, there's more space, there's a table and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, it is absolutely freezing in my house. My room is the warmest room in the house. It is absolutely freezing. So I don't want to be in there. I think I have my heat at like 78 degrees and it is like 60 in here, in there, and no. But anyway, if you notice, I am wearing my birthday sweater. I made this to wear on my birthday, and I did wear it yesterday, and I did get compliments on it, so that was, you know, I actually love that because I do take a lot of time and pride in making my stuff and, you know, figuring it out and writing down and all of that stuff. So it is really nice when someone, you know, sees it and appreciates what I wear and what I have that I've made with my own two hands, and it's nice. So now let's get to it. I did the math. It's over there. All right. 1 second. Okay. So I did the math and I counted all the labels that I used for January, and I added up the yardage because I was just curious. Now, the thing with this is that I have another project that I've been working on that unfortunately I did not get to finish, which, you know, my Valentine's Day cardigan that I am working on. And I only was able to finish one skein of yarn before the end of the month. And I have used a lot more yardage than is on here because those skeins are almost finished, but they're not finished yet. So I don't want to count them as, you know, finished skeins. But I'm also going to show you that and show you the progress that I've made. And, you know, there's other little things that I've made here and there. So this yardage is not accurate as to what I've used this in January, because we're in February. But it is very close to what I've used. So I think it was a pretty decent amount. If you want to guess how many labels I've used, go right ahead. You can leave that in the comment section now. And if you want to guess how many yards I've used, you can do that too. I will share that at the end of the video. But first, I want to show you the projects that I finished in the month of January. And There aren't that many, but they are very big. Because apparently in January, I had a, blanket problem. And while some of them were almost finished, and like my Vlogmas blanket was almost finished, but I did finish the outline and the border in January. So it was finished in January. But my other big blanket was all done in January. I think it was a whip that was carried over from last year. Like I had 2 squares or 4 squares done. I can't remember exactly how many squares I had done. It was anywhere between 2 and 4. But the majority of the squares, and I think it's 35 squares. So really the blanket was done in January, almost from start to finish. And that was a big project. So I didn't get as many things done because, again, the blanket took me almost 2 weeks to make. All the squares, the outline, the attaching, the outline, and the border. And then I made 3 other small blankets. And one is like a baby blanket because it's for someone that I watch every once in a while when she comes here, and I want her to have her own blanket because she loves my crocheted blankets and stuff. So I wanted her to have one here for her. And the other 2 are kind of like lap blankets, I guess you could call them. And then I made a few little things. My sweater took me a while. Because, I made it, I designed it, from start to finish. It was something that I'd never done before. I mean, I've done this style, but this particular pattern, I just wrote it as I was going. And my Valentine's Day sweater, that took me a while too, and I was just so upset that I didn't get it finished by the end of January like I wanted, but that's okay. It's no big deal. I only have half a sleeve and a whole sleeve left and to finish the trim, but it is what it is, right? And I did make a few little things like, and I did make a few other little things. And, again, you can also take a guess as to how many items you think I made in January. But I'm going to start showing you. I'll show you what items I made first, and I have to get up. So I am filming this in my room, so I'm sorry if it, it would be better in the yarn room, but here we are. And then I'm going to show you the labels and tell you how many labels I used and how much yardage, more or less, I used this last month. And that's going to be a little bonus video for today. I wanted to do just something a little bit different for my birthday. So, let's go. Okay, so here is a full look at my sweater. Don't mind the sweatpants because, again, it is my birthday and I want to be comfortable. I put this on for the video so you could see. Now, I do tend to like wearing my sweaters off the shoulder. It's just a personal preference. But, I mean, if I wanted to, I can very much do this. And the collar will, stay. If I ever decide that I want it like this, to stay this way all the time, I can always just do another round of single crochet up here and it'll close it in a little bit more. 1 or 2 rows will cinch it, but I don't want to do that. So first I will show you, and I'm sure that you've seen all the blankets. I'm sure that I have shown all the blankets, or at least most of them, but I'm going to show you them again. This is my Vlogmas blanket. And this was actually the first one I finished this year. And you won't be able to see it all the way, so I'm not really going to open it up, but this was blanket number 1. This was blanket number 2. And this one also came out really big. It's less squares, but they are bigger than the Vlogmas squares. So it came out wider than the Vlogmas blanket and a little bit shorter, but it is beautiful and I love it. And this one stays in my room on my bed. So that was the second item. Now these two, I think I finished this one first. This one was the first one I finished. And this is the one I made for the baby, or little girl. But it's just a granny square. And I love it because, you know, the way I do it, and it's, again, just personal preference, but I like making the yarn where it just goes where it goes, and it's fun. And then I think this was the other one. Now, this one I don't think I revealed, so you know what? Let's do that. Okay, now, honestly, I don't know what side is what, so here we go. Ready? Can you see it? Now, it's not like, you know, a giant blanket, but it is actually a pretty good blanket. I was making it for, like, a little kid, which it would have probably been okay if I would have just done 6 squares like this, but I love this blanket. It's on the couch, and it's good to, like, cover your legs if you're sitting there, but it is beautiful. And I did just a round of granny clusters around the border, and I left it that way in case I ever decide that I want to make it a little bit bigger, you know? And I love it. And again, I love the funkiness and the randomness of the squares. Then I made this giant. Now, I actually want to make it bigger. I don't know if you could see it all. It's one giant granny square, and it's made out of blanket yarn. And I ran out of yarn. I only had 4 skeins of this, and I'll show it to you up close. I only had 4 skeins of this. So I went as far as the yarn took me. And again, I did not finish it off with any border or anything like that. I was going to do a round of single crochet, but I actually decided that I'm not going to finish it off. And whenever I can, I will buy more of this yarn and actually make it to probably fit on my bed. because this is good for the winter. And right now, it's a lap size blanket. I don't know how big it is, but I didn't measure it, but I do love it. Now, it took me a bit of getting used to working with blanket yarn because I don't work with blanket yarn at all, but I actually thought it wasn't that bad. I used, I think, a smaller hook than was called for. I think I used a 7. I'm not sure, but this was number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then obviously I made the sweater, so that's 6. And then here, I'm going to show you the Valentine's Day sweater, and then I'm going to sit down because I'm tired. And I'll show you the other ones, you know. But this is how far along I've gotten in the sweater. So I did all of this in January. So I need one more sleeve to go. And this one, I need half a sleeve. So right now, it just needs the red. I need to attach the red. And I stopped it because for some reason, I always do the trim and then the collar and the border before I do my sleeves. And I do that for a reason because I want to know what it looks like. You know, once I add the sleeves, I want to know where to stop on the sleeves and how it looks. And I really can't get that, me personally, that look, that you know, vision, unless I have the trim and the, you know, the border on. And so I stopped the sleeves and started doing this, and now I'm trying to figure out if I want to do just one more half double or 2 more, and then this is going to have buttons. So I need to figure out that so that I can do the buttonholes on the other side, and then I will finish the sleeves, which will not take me long at all. But, you know, this I did start in January, and it is a significant project. So, I mean, it's a significant amount of yarn. So I did want you to show this, but this was started in, it's one giant granny square in the back. And again, I tend to always, the first time, it's funny because I see like a lot of crochet artists who, when they first try out a pattern or try to make something from, you know, from scratch, they end up like making things too small. And I'm always the opposite. Whenever I try to make something for the first time, it always comes out big. Probably too big. But again, it's better being a little bit big than being small and you can't wear it, right? So this is what it's looking like right now. And I could probably actually put this on over my sweater. That's how big it is. But, and I'm hot, y'all. I am so hot right now because it is warm in my room. This is the only room that gets really warm. And wearing this sweater in here, it is hot. But anyway, this is what the back looks like. And this is what the front looks like. And so it's like 4 giant granny squares in the front. Well, large granny squares, we'll say. And then the sleeves. And this is the one that I wasn't able to finish. Now, I did finish the red yarn. So the red yarn, that skein is done and it's in my pile. But this is how much of the other yarn I have left. So you know, I used quite a bit of yarn, but And I think some of these are the second skeins. But it just wasn't, I wasn't able to finish it. So I don't know if I'm going to finish those skeins. Probably not. Probably, I'm going to have to tie on another red skein, but I don't think that I'm going to finish those other skeins. But there is a little bit of yardage in there that's not going to be added to the usage. But anyway, give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry, I had to sit down. That's a lot for me. Now, and I had to take off my sweater. I know in about maybe 5-10 minutes I'll probably be cold again, but that is one heavy, thick sweater. It is beautiful. And again, like I said, I wore it yesterday, so being out in the city, I was warm. You know what I mean? And that's also because I was wearing my ear warmers. Now, I wanted to try something a little different because my ear warmers and my beanies, I usually just do, single strand like normal. And if I want a thicker beanie, I'll use the bulky weight yarn, right? But I think I do have a pink skein of the bulky yarn that I'm going to make into a hat that I got at Michael's. But I kind of wanted it to be more or less in the same color scheme as my sweater. And even though like the pinks are a little off, or like the purple wasn't the right shade, although I didn't use the purple one, I decided to double strand a big twist with a loops and threads. So, the big twist is a little bit thinner and the loops and threads is a little bit thicker. So when you put them together, to me, it feels like a bulky 5, right? So I made these ear warmers. And I, again, made them a little bit too wide, but I absolutely love it. I'm not going to put it on now because I have my hair. My hair is an absolute disaster. But it's up in a clip, so I don't want to put it on right now. But it's really good because I had on my scrunchie. I had my hair in a bun. So it's like really good where all you really saw was my bun. So I made these last week, I think on like Thursday or Friday or something like that. And then, of course, I had to make a hat. Can I put, no. All right, so I made my beanie and I did the double strand with the pinks, and I actually love this. Like, now I have another, I can have the lighter weight beanies, right, where they're just single-stranded beanies like I normally make. And then I can also have, the double-stranded beanie, which, again, let me tell you, some people think that because you have these little spaces from the granny stitch, that it's going to be cold. Trust me, you will not be cold in this hat. And the reason why I like doing it, me personally, this way is because it's a little bit more breathable. So you will be warm, trust me, but you won't be sweaty because you will have like a little bit where, the heat can release. So it won't make you sweat, but I guarantee you it will keep you nice and warm. And I had someone say that to me, on Christmas. We went to my friend's house, and we had a hat exchange. And, I ended up then just passing out hats, because of course I did. But the person that got the hat that I made, he was like, he put it on, and I asked him if he liked the hat, and he said at first he thought that it wasn't going to be warm when he put it on because of the holes. And he said that once he put it on, he's like, it's warm. He said, I didn't think it was going to be warm like this because of the holes, but this is warm. So it's not just me. But this is my go-to hat beanie design, and I made it myself. But I like it because I can either make it, a regular fitted beanie, or just a little bit, like this one is a little bit bigger than the fitted beanie, a little bit longer, because I do have a lot of hair. So, it's good if I want to tuck my hair in. And then if I want, I could make a slouch beanie and make it a lot longer. So this is like my go-to beanie, and I would like to make another one using maybe like a mixture of the granny stitch and maybe like a half double crochet or something like that. I'm working on it. But then if you remember the first ear warmer that I made, I decided to make one that wasn't as wide. And I think it came out adorable. So, if you don't have a really big head like I do, or if you don't like it to be like that wide, I'm also going to have this version. And I do think it came out so adorable. And, it's nice and stretchy. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of give, but trust me, it's beautiful. And I think it looks gorgeous. You let me know what you think. But see, it does stretch. So it's enough stretch to where you could put it on and it's not going to be tight. But it's not enough stretch where it'll stretch out over time and then, it'll be too big. And the last thing I have to show you is the scarf. Now, I started this. Okay. Now, those of you who've been watching and know me, or if you are watching me and you know me, you know very well that I think that, I'm going to start this tomorrow and I'm going to start this today and have it finished by tomorrow. Or in 2 days. Yeah, no. I started this on Saturday because I wanted to wear it on Sunday, and that's how much I have. Now, this is another thing I want to point out. Now, this is also double-stranded, and I wanted to do something a little bit different because if you saw my video and you saw the Pico cards, I do want to design another scarf, which is what this one was supposed to be. It's very simple, granny cluster scarf, granny stitch scarf. And I don't know if I'm going to, I was thinking of maybe putting like a half double crochet in there somewhere and make, we'll figure it out. But I decided that I wanted to do it double-stranded to have a little warmer, because again, I don't have enough of the 5-weight bulky yarn to do a scarf. So I figured since I didn't have enough 5-weight bulky yarn to do the scarf, and I did the ear warmers and the hat this way, I would do the scarf double-stranded like I did the ear warmers, and I used the exact same color. And the reason why I want to tell you this specifically is so you can see. Now, I use the exact same color, right? Same shades of pink, same shade of purple. It's the Loops and Threads Amethyst, I believe, because it was supposed to be for my birthday, and amethyst is my birthstone. I think that's why I'm totally obsessed with purple, but anyway. And I used this medium pink, medium rose. And these are the two colors that I used for the ear warmers. And that's why I started it with the scarf, because I wanted it to be kind of like a matching set. But what's funny is, if you notice, and maybe it's just me, you tell me, but it looks different because of the stitch. And I think that's so cool. And that's why, I like to use certain stitches in different stitches for certain things, because it'll work up and look completely different. This looks completely different than this. And I think it's just so beautiful. So it matches because it's the same colors, but because of the way it's worked up, it looks different. And I think that's so cool. But that's just me. Let me know what you think. But we are going to be working on this scarf this week. Now, it's obviously not a priority at the moment because it was for my birthday and it didn't get finished. But I would like to work on it. Today I am going to be working on my Valentine's Day sweater because I just want to finish it now. I've been working on it for a couple of days and it just needs to get finished. But if you're a crocheter like me, and sometimes you don't want to work on a certain project because you've been working on it for so long, and like right now I'm doing the collar, so it's a lot of half double crochets and single crochets that I'm going to be doing, and yeah, I might work on it for like an hour and a half, which is, if you've been here, that's about as much as I can do in one sitting. So, I'll probably work on it for about an hour and a half, and then take a break. And then when I start crocheting again, I might actually work on this, because I can't work on the sleeves. I don't want to work on the sleeves until I finish the border and know where I'm placing the buttons. I'm not going to place the buttons now. The buttons will be the very last thing I add. But I do have to make the button holes. So, I need to know how wide I want the band, and where I want to put the buttons. And what I also think I'm going to do is, let's put this out of the way because we're not working on this right now. And actually, when I'm done with this video, I'm taking a break, so I'm not going to be working on anything. But anyway, I just want to show you. Okay, so also what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to change this up when I recreate this sweater, because I was not in the mood to take apart the granny squares that I had made. And I wasn't going to make the back one any bigger. I already added, I think, like 4 rounds to it. Because I think I had it at 18, and then I went to 24 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. So I had already made the back way bigger than I wanted it to. I wasn't going to make it any bigger. And I didn't have that much space in between the squares, the front square panels, and the back. So what I'm going to do is, because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, it was like a space of 7, but not even really. But anyway, sorry. You know how ADHD. Now, what I did, the 2 rounds of granny clusters, like I always do for the outline. And then I did 2 rounds of half double crochets. And I want to do, I'm probably going to do 4 rounds, but because there wasn't enough space in between my shoulders and the front, What I'm going to do is most likely, that's why these clips are here. I'm going to do a half double crochet up until here, although I do have to count and make sure I have the right count. I just put the markers as a guide because I had it on. So I'm going to make sure that there's, counted right. But I think that from where the markers are, all the way around, from here all the way around to here, I'm just going to do a single crochet. And then do half double crochets all the way down. And then when I come back up, do one more round of single crochet. And do half double crochets all the way down. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because then I always finish it off with 2 rounds of single crochet. And then I think that the collar over here is going to be way too wide if I do it all in half double crochets. So that's what I'm going to be working on. I'm going to count this off, make sure the count is even. And then, this whole section is just going to be single crochets till I, finish it. And then the sides and the bottom will be 2 more rounds of half double crochet and 2 rounds of single. So hopefully it'll look right. Now I know that when I make it again, I need to make the front squares a little bit smaller and have more room. And then shape the front, which I should have known that, but it is what it is, right? And it is very long, but again, that's how I wanted it. But it is longer than what I imagined because, again, I had it at 18 rounds, and then I had to add on 4 more rounds to get the spacing that I needed, and it still wasn't enough, but I wasn't going to make the back panel any bigger, so it's a good learning experience. That's how I take it and again, I rather have something that's way baggier than have something that I can't fit into. So I'm okay with it. And it's good that I know what I did and how I have to fix it. So I'm happy with it. We're going to see how it looks when it's finished. And I will show it to you, but it will definitely be finished this week. And then next week, I'll show you everything that I made in the week, because we're not going to be working on giant projects like blankets. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? There might be a blanket thrown in there somewhere in February. Maybe 2. Maybe a Valentine's Day blanket at some point. And a St. Patty's Day colored blanket. But who knows? Now, if you've guessed how much yarn I've used, you can put it down in the comment section. I'm going to count them out. Now, I'm not doing them in any particular order. These 2 are the last 2 that I used on Saturday. So we're going to add them to this. And this is what I've used the entire month. And I do have them written down. And majority of what I've used is loops and threads. Because I was trying to get rid of a lot of that yarn that I had, right? That fancy yarn which went into the blanket. So, we have 3 big twists. Somewhere in here, there's another big twist. Here we go. We have 3 big twists. We have 2 mainstay, 1 Premier puzzle, 2 mainstay chenille, 1 Premier puzzle, mainstay acrylic was 2, Loops and threads was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 loops and threads, and one I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Don't fall. Alright. Let's try it this way. Let's do this again. 1, 2. Alright. 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. 27 skeins of yarn, full skeins of yarn that I have used. And about maybe 6 that are used but not completely. So 27 labels. And we're going to put this all like this. And I did the math, and it totals up to 7,897 yards for the month. Do you think that's a lot? Do you think that's a little? I think I could use more. But remember, I make a lot of big things, so it's not like, you know, the ear warmers and the hats are probably the smallest thing I make. So, you know, like this does not take up much yarn. And I made this one, and I still have yarn in the skeins for both. So I could make another, you know, ear warmers and hat if I wanted to in this. Sorry. Okay. I can absolutely make, well, maybe not in the light pink, which is, loops and threads. Because I also made this cuff, but I made this, yeah, it's with, the purple is from Big Twist, and this pink is the same as this pink. So, but I think I have enough of this light pink to do at least one more ear warmer. So when I do ear warmers and hats, I don't use up as much as obviously I do when I make a sweater or a cardigan. But if you've been around enough, I really do enjoy making sweaters and cardigans, and apparently now blankets, which is a shock to me. But I also made a scrunchie, but that was for my friend. She wanted a white scrunchie, so I made her a scrunchie, and I used, like, what, half a skein, not even, more or less half a skein of the chenille yarn from the Dollar Tree. I don't think it's here. But I still have, like, enough. I could probably get maybe half a scrunchie or 3/4 of a scrunchie done with it. So I did make that, and it kind of looked like this, except she wanted it not as tall. And this one, and I do my scrunchies a little bit different. I just do treble crochets right into the elastic. I don't do any single crochets or any half double crochets around the elastic itself. I just do the trebles right onto the scrunchie itself. And just put as many in there as I can fit in there until I don't see any real elastic. And that's how I do mine. But this one was a little bit too tall for her. She wanted it a little bit shorter, so I did one for her in double crochets. And so it looks a little bit smaller. But I was thinking, because I might start making scrunchies for my website. Everyone does love my scrunchies, but I forgot what I was going to say. So what I think I'm going to do is make some like this, where they're, you know, a little bit taller, so it's a bigger scrunchie, and then make a few that are shorter with the double crochets. And that way, like, they're good for little girls, or if you don't like having a big scrunchie like this. I do. And again, I started making these just for me. And the baby that I watch, I've known her mother. Her mother is the same age as my daughter. And they were in school together. They played softball together. And she is like a second child to me. And, you know, she likes them. I say, look what I made. Do you like it? And she takes it. So, yeah, so I like these, and I think I'm going to put them up and make some with the treble crochets and with the double crochets. And now that I'm thinking about it, I made this one in January. I made this for me in January because I wanted a purple one to go with my sweater. So, in total, how many items did we make today? I mean, in January. Hello. 5 blankets, the sweater, 6, and I'm only counting finished products. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The scrunchie from my friend. Wait. Okay. I completely forgot. And, I can't remember if I made my friend's beret in December or if I made it in the very beginning of January. But I had a little yarn left over, so I know I made this one with the little yarn that I had left over. And it's actually very nice. I like it. I mean, like, again, I have a clip in my hair, so it's not going to go on. But I have this one. And then I had this yarn. And I made this, one of my neighbors, she's very old. She's 81 years old, and she's very nice. And, you know, it helps me if I need help or anything like that. So she wanted a hat, and I had extra yarn of this, so I made her a hat. And then I made this extra yarn. This was from a different hat that I had that I didn't like the way it looked. And it had like a white border around it that I made last year. And it was before I really started making hats. So I took it all apart. And then I found extra yarn. So I made her a hat, and I made this hat. So I have, and this is the chunky yarn. And so it is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 finished products. In the month of January. Not bad. Now, again, this was from a hat that I took apart and extra yarn that I had around, so there's no label for it either. And then this was left over from her hat, which that label was already counted. So, but let me know what you think of all the stuff that I've made. And I hope you enjoyed this video. It's, not the kind of videos that I'm used to making. I normally crochet. You will get one of those videos tomorrow, I promise. I will be working on the sweater today because I really do want to get it done. And I do have a few things around the house that I want to do, but today is my birthday, and all I want to do is crochet. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to crochet, and hopefully finish this cardigan by tonight. Can't promise anything, but that's what I'm hoping for. And let me know if you liked any of the stuff that I made in the month of January, and if you think that I used a lot of yarn or not really. I'm sure there are people out there who used a lot more yarn than I did. But, I don't think that was bad. And I have a few new patterns out of everything that I made. My ear warmers, I just have to write them down. And before I go, one more thing. I am trying to structure ideas of kinds of videos that I want to make going forward. And, like I said in previous videos, all the patterns that I've made, that I've created, all the items that I've made, starting from 2025, well, technically to the end of 2024, which is when I made my raglan and my bottom-up cardigan. Those two were in 2024, but everything else was in 2025. And I have notebooks I will show you, like this. These composition notebooks. And I have this one only has a few items in it. But I have about 4 or 5 of them. And they are full of stuff that I've created. Bags, accessories, which is bags, all different kinds of bags, and bandanas and hats and stuff like that, and sweaters, mainly sweaters and cardigans. And my goal from my Pico card is to take each one of them and redo them, either in the same yarn type, like if it was loops and threads, make it in loops and threads to see how it comes out. And then possibly make it again in a thinner yarn, because that's going to change the size of the sweater, right? So if, let's say, you want to use a big twist to make that sweater, or a Lion Brand yarn to make my sweater, if I make it in loops and threads, it's not going to come out the same exact size, because the yarn is a different thickness. So it's going to be a little bit smaller if you use a thinner yarn. So my other goal is to not only recreate it to check the pattern and make sure that the pattern is good, but it's also to, I also want to make it in at least 2 different kinds of yarn and see how much it'll change the project, because I've done that with my Hexies. And that's I want to do. And my question was going to be, would you guys like to see that? Like 1 week I would pick a pattern and that's what I would be working on. Redoing that pattern, and depending on what it is and how long it takes me, maybe making more than one. Obviously, hats will take me much less time. Scarves will take me less time than a sweater, but we can always break it up and do like pick, 3 patterns for that week. What I want to recreate and, things like that. And that way I can give you more content while working on the things that I want to work on. And we can work it out together. And hopefully, when I get it all done, I can figure out a way to release that pattern. And that's what I've been thinking. If you have any suggestions or if you like those ideas, I know that my vlogs are a lot different than most crocheters out there. And I feel so weird sitting here not crocheting with you. But I do need to take a break. And I just wanted to finish this up before I do that. But thank y'all so much for subscribing. I am up to 75 subscribers, and I do have to do a live. I want to do a live. It's just been very hard for me because of my fibro flares, and this weather is just, girl, let me tell you, it has been in the negatives. Okay. It was 8 degrees the last time I checked. I think this morning it was 8 degrees, and I think it said felt like -6. So it's been absolutely freezing here, so bad that it makes it difficult for me to do much of anything, especially outside of this room. And, when it's stuff for me, I like to crochet in here, but I won't, when it's stuff for, either to put up on my website or for somebody else, I do it in the other rooms. I like to keep it separate. And, that's just how I like to do it. So I haven't been able to sit out there. It's just too cold. And like I said earlier, I have my heat up at, I can't remember if it's 76 or 78, to be honest with you. But when I tell you, I looked at the thermostat and it said like 60 degrees, I think. That's insane. That's insane. Because that's how cold it is outside. It is absolutely freezing. And again, in here, and now it's starting to cool off, like I'm starting to feel a little cold, but again, I did take off that giant sweater. But this is the warmest room in the house. So I know you like to see my pretty yarn wall, and I'm sorry, I can't wait to start filming in there again, but it is just way too cold to be in that part of the house, and my body just can't handle it. So I am going to let you go. And I'm going to, I need to take a break. I'm going to let you go. Okay, friends. And I will be filming in a little while. When I sit down, we will work out this cardigan together. Hopefully get it finished today and get that out of the way. And then we will be working on some other lovely stuff. All right. So y'all have a wonderful day. And And I hope you liked my birthday sweater and, my amethyst ear warmers. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. If it's your birthday today, like it is mine, happy birthday to you. And I will see y'all later. Bye, friends.